What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Just a couple of minutes ago, Riot actually dropped the patch notes for patch 10.1, which is going to be dropping on January 10th, and that is going to be the start of the Season 10 competitive ranked League of Legends season. Everyone's really hyped for that. Everyone's really excited. The preseason was long. While the changes are always fun in the preseason, grinding out the preseason kind of sucks. People want that new season to start. We want to get playing some serious ranked games again. Get this for fun stuff out of here. We're ready for the ranked season. So this patch 10.1 notes dropping is really exciting. It's always great when Riot drops a new patch, but especially the first patch of the season, it's always a really big deal. So I want to try out a new video today. I want to go try out running through the patch notes right on release, letting you guys know all the new changes and stuff. I'm going to have them all up on the screen. I'm going to be talking through them, kind of giving my opinion on some of the stuff, and we'll just run through that. But real quick, I just want to mention the channel has been absolutely popping off lately. We've been posting a ton of videos. We've been getting a ton of views, having a couple videos do really well, but a bunch of you guys still aren't subscribed. So if you enjoy what I do, if you enjoy my content, if you like my videos, if I'm helping you learn about the game, teaching you anything interesting, anything like that, hook me up by dropping a subscribe, dropping a like on this video, checking out my Twitch. Those are the 3 best ways to support me. If you guys do any one of those, I would appreciate it very much. With that being said, let's get right into this video. The patch 10.1 rundown, the very first patch of the Season 10 of League of Legends. So first and foremost, SETT, he's coming out in patch 10.1. He's coming out on January 14th, just like I had predicted in one of my other videos. Mecha Kingdom SETT is going to be coming out on January 14th as well. That's great. That's awesome. If you want to know more about SETT, I actually did post a SETT guide. Definitely go check that out on my channel. Don't want to run through too much of SETT stuff because that's really in-depth. It would take a long time. But SETT's coming out. I have a SETT guide. All that information is available to you. Also, real quick, I just want to mention that the Ranked 2020 season is going to be starting on January 10th at 4 a.m. That's Pacific time, so do the conversions you have to do or whatever, especially if you're in NA, you can convert that really easily. But 4 a.m. January 10th, for me, I'm in Central, that's 6 a.m. I'm going to be hyped. I don't know if I'm going to be staying up all night or waking up that early to play my games right away, but I'm definitely going to be playing some ranked games on January 10th to start out that new season. And then the rest of the changes, these are the balance changes for patch 10.1. They're in alphabetical order, so here we go. We got Aphelios getting a base movement speed decrease, a health decrease, and his Infernum AoE ultimate damage is decreased on the secondary targets. The Infernum ultimate has been really strong on Aphelios for quite some time. The big, massive AoE explosion doing so much damage. It's still going to do the normal damage onto the primary target, but on the AoE effect, it's going to do 75% on secondary targets. I like that change because there's been some crazy clips of Aphelios just wiping out team fights. Reliant Soul passive stars base damage decreased. Reliant Soul's win rate was really inflated throughout the whole preseason. Still has a really abysmal play rate, but I think that's definitely a fine change. I think a change was in order because his win rate for people who were actually playing him was pretty crazy. Azir, R base damage and wall duration increase. I think that's a really interesting change, especially for pro play. Obviously, he's going to be very hard to play. He's never going to be a low elo champion. But in the higher tiers and in professionals, with obviously this being the patch, that LCS is starting on, I think Azir's really exciting to watch in pro play. It can get a little bit boring when it's just a farming meta with Azir, but stream a shuffle, seeing those plays made by the professionals, that never gets old. Corki R base damage increased later. Hopefully we don't get into another Corki Azir meta, but a nice little buff for Corki, who's been really out of the solo queue meta for quite some time. They need to find a way to get him into solo queue without him being broken in pros, because he is a really boring champion to watch in the professional state. But another professional based change there. Jax's R now works with Ginsu's Rage Blade. I think that was like a bug fix. Some Jax mains were talking about that. Nice little quality of life and nice little quality and life improvement for Jax, but it definitely is a buff for a champion that's already pretty strong. So hopefully it doesn't make him overpowered. Next up is Jace. His Cannon Q base damage is increased later. Obviously, his win rate has been pretty terrible for a while. Klepto being gone definitely hurt him a lot. I think it's a really weird change, increasing his base damage later. He's obviously an early game champion that needs to dominate lane. You're not picking Jace for the late game. Obviously, if his Q explodes people later in the game, it would be nice, but I don't think this change is going to make too much of a change for Jace as far as solo Q play rate or anything like that. Kalista base health and armor growth increased. A nice little change for Kalista. Shouldn't be anything game breaking in terms of solo Q or anything like that. She's pretty weak still. She's pretty weak and still in terms of solo queue, even though she's gotten a few buffs recently. They're trying to get her back into the meta without completely breaking her in professional play and in the higher levels. I don't think this change is going to do it, but obviously every little bit helps. Kassadin, movement speed decrease, R mana penalty duration now displays on the icon. That R mana change I think is really nice. That's going to be a nice quality of life change for Kassadin. I'm really happy about that actually. And his movement speed decrease, I think that's warranted. His ultimate obviously gives him so much mobility already. He doesn't need higher base movement speed. So I think that's a really nice change. Kog'Maw, our mana penalty duration now displays on icon. Again, that's another really nice quality of life change, very similar to the Kassadin one. Mordekaiser, here we're getting to the good stuff. This is definitely something that was needed. Passive duration decreased and movement speed now flat. I think that is a really nice change. Having his passive last a little less long, that's going to make him a little less oppressive in lane, which is going to be very, very nice. It's going to make his just AoE damage in team fights not as strong, because when his passive's just ticking, it's melting. Also, you're getting that healing from Conqueror. Just a disgusting, really easy to play champion. I'm very down for any Mordekaiser nerf, and I think this seems like a solid one. It should decrease his win rate a little bit. He's not going to be unplayable. He's not going to be weak by any means, but just getting him a little more in tune with some of the other champions in the top lane and in just the game in general, because he's a nuisance in mid too. Nami E now also empowers the target's abilities. It's kind of a minor change. I don't think that'll be anything too crazy, but definitely a nice buff for her. Sejuani, base health growth increased, frost armor resistances ratio increased, E base damage increased later. A lot of really nice changes for Sejuani. Honestly, this is another LCS focused change. Sejuani, just a staple in pro play, a staple in LCS. Her just huge amount of CC is always going to be so nice in professionals. She has been very, very terrible in solo queue recently, so some nice changes coming to her at a good time, and I think she'll probably be seeing some pro play in the professional scene. Hopefully her solo queue win rate can get up a little bit, because it sucks when a champion is just completely unplayable in solo queue, which it seems like Sejuani has been. So overall, I think those are some really nice buffs, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see her at all in the LCS that first week. Shyvana gains resistances when slaying Elder Dragon. Fury gains increased in lieu of ultimate CDR when slaying Cloud Drakes. E marked target damage ratio and monster damage cap increased. I think the passive change is really nice. It's something that they needed. It didn't make sense that Shyvana wasn't getting that stuff on the Elder Dragon. So now when her team slays Elder Dragon, she'll still be getting her passive increases. Also, the Cloud Drakes doing stuff for her Fury instead of an ultimate cooldown reduction, since she doesn't have ultimate cooldown. I think that's just a change that makes sense. I'm surprised they didn't make those two changes sooner, honestly. But Riot's been on break, so hey, give them a break there, I guess. And then her E is obviously just going to help her clear, which will always be great for Shyvana, as she needs to power farm. Some really big changes happening to SYLAS, so these are going to take a second to soak in. Less base stats early, more later. Passive now gives attack speed. W cooldown decreased, E AP ratio increased, W, E1, and R basic attack reset removed. So with that, they are removing some skill cap, some skill display from SYLAS. The more basic auto attack resets you have, the more abilities you have to really maximize your damage with small, doing things like that. It's going to make the champion not necessarily harder to play, but to get the maximum output of them, there's going to be more skill expression in the champion. So by removing that, they are dumbing down SYLAS a little bit. He has been a pain to balance between solo queue and professional play, also low elo to high elo. So they are just going for something different here. I think they're making him more simple, probably easier to play, and probably just more balanceable in the end, which is going to piss some people off. People want to have those high skill expression champions and not have simple, just massive damage dealing champions and stuff like that. But it proves very hard for Riot to balance, so we'll see how these changes turn out. It's a ton of changes all happening at once. It could make him really strong, it could make him still terrible, it could make him still OP in pro play. We'll just have to wait and see, but we'll have all the changes up on the screen. Definitely read more into that stuff if you're curious about that, but I think it's too much going on for me to really even say anything about it right now. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'll definitely play SYLAS in the early on in the season, see what I think about him, and then I can give him more of my opinions, but right now I think it's just too hard to tell. Varus Q cooldown and Blight cooldown refund decreased. Some nice changes for Varus. He has not been that great in solo queue recently. Vi, R is now unstoppable for its whole duration. I think that's a change that makes sense. Again, that's a change I'm honestly kind of surprised they hadn't made sooner. So a nice little, another quality of life change. Ton of quality of life change on this patch, which is always really great for the game for people who played these champions. Zyra, empowered E, slow, decrease. That's great. Zyra is so oppressive in the bot lane. I'm sure bot lane players, AD carries and supports alike, are going to be very, very happy to hear about those changes. Next, we have the support item changes. They're adding a ton of stuff to the support items. They're trying to make tanky supports more tanky. They're trying to make caster supports be able to cast more abilities. So this is all about base health regen, mana regen, just keeping you healthier in lane, keeping your mana tapped up so you can actually do more in the early game, so you're not just doing nothing, having a boring time. They want people to play support, obviously, so they're trying to make these items a little bit better, which I think is great. Relic Shield getting some more base health regen, Steel Shoulder Guards getting some more base health regen, Sickle getting some mana regen, and Spell Thief's Edge getting some mana regen. They're taking some power off these items in the later game, making them a little stronger in the early game. I think that's a solid change. Runes, Conqueror now shows the total healing in its tooltip. That's awesome. That's nice. Just the more information is always going to be great for people, so you can learn what's really great, what you're getting out of runes, what you're not. The more information available to people, the better always in my opinion. And Prototype Ominous Stone cooldown is decreased. I still think this is going to be a very niche rune. This is obviously another really nice change for Ominous Stone, and people who think it's interesting like trying it out. I still don't think this is going to make it meta just yet, but Riot seems really dedicated to this idea. They want to try and make this work. They're trying to do a ton of changes. It's going to be interesting to see if this makes more people take it on certain champions and stuff, but it's already so niche a rune. There's so few champions that are able to use a ton of different runes successfully, so I think they're going to have to keep making changes over time as of course the season goes. I assume that it's going to be meta at some point in Season 10, but I don't know if this is a change that's going to do it. But obviously decreasing the cooldown, allowing you to use runes more often is going to be very strong, but it's still viable on so few champions that I don't think it's going to be the optimal choice on very many guys just yet. But I'm interested to see how people are going to try and make it work, and it's something that I'm really curious about. So if you find a champion that is able to make this thing work, definitely let me know about that. We got a couple bug fixes, couple skins going out, but that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. That was the patch 10.1 rundown, the first patch of Season 10. And the patch that SETT is going to be dropping on, the patch that ranked is going to be starting on finally now that the preseason's over. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are all really excited too. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think about the patch? What change is your favorite? What change do you hate? Is there anything you're crazy about? Anything you're excited to be trying out in the new season? Also, leave a comment down below if there's any videos you'd like to see me make in the future. I really want to be pumping out content that you guys are interested in, that you guys are going to enjoy, so that would, help me out a ton. Make sure you subscribe so you stay up to date on all my latest content. We got a ton of League of Legends content coming to you in Season 10. I want to see you guys become better players. I want to see you guys improve, get better at the game, and achieve the rank that you want to in Season 10. So I'm here to help. This is the channel for you. Also, checking me out on Twitch is another great way to support me. Hopefully I catch you guys all in the next video, but until then, peace.